guys, welcome back to my channel. Guys, it's my birthday month. Hey guys, I'm so glad that you are here. It is July, and July is my YouTube channel birthday month. My channel is now 2 years old, and I've had so much fun over the last 2 years sharing with you some of the tips and tricks and things that I use in my kitchen. But guys, I've also learned a lot. I've learned a lot through this process. So I thought, since this is the anniversary or the birthday of my YouTube channel, I would do a short little series this month where I go back through all the videos that I've made and I pick our top 3 for different ingredients. And so we went back, we dug through, and we found our top 3 recipes using ground beef. So let's check it out. Number 3 on the list was in an extreme budget video, and it was so good. We made a Philly cheesesteak tater tot casserole. Tonight's meal, we are going to be taking this pound of ground beef, green pepper, onion. We're going to use the tater tots and the cheese. We're going to be making a Philly cheesesteak tater tot casserole. So let's get our beef into the pan. We're going to brown this up, and then we're going to get to chopping. Once my meat has browned up, I have drained that. I'm now adding in the onion and green pepper that I chopped. I gave that a good stir and let that start to saute the veggies a little bit. And then we're going to add in the seasonings. So for the seasonings, I'm loosely following a recipe, but doctoring it up with my own seasoning. So of course, I'm going to be using some salt and pepper. I just did a good pinch of each. Then I'm going to be adding in some Worcestershire sauce. I did not measure, I just eyeballed it. I love to add Worcestershire sauce anytime that I'm cooking anything beef. And then I'm going to give that a stir. I'm going to add in some more of this stone ground mustard. Y'all, if you've watched my videos, you know I've been working on this bottle. But I'm trying to use this up, and I love that little zing of flavor that this gives to a dish. I'm also going to be adding in this can of mushrooms that I've drained. You do not have to add this. This would cut back on the cost. This is what it looks like once it has been mixed up in the pan. I'm now going to be adding in a packet of brown gravy mix. And I'm going to be following the gravy mix instructions and adding in 1 cup of water. I'm going to give this a stir and let this saute for just a few minutes. This is a 9 by 13. I'm going to spray it. Some non-stick spray. Then I'm going to bring my mixture over and get in the dish. Just look how yummy. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. So I'm going to get this meat and pepper and onion and mushroom mixture in the casserole dish. Right around, that sauce will thicken up because it has that gravy mix. It will thicken as it cooks in the oven. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. Now we're going to assemble the topping for the casserole. I'm going to take some of that cheese, put a layer of that on. Then we're going to add on our tater tots. I'm just going to dump them on, and then I'll start making them all pretty. I've got my tater tots on. I'm going to cover with the rest of my cheese. I'm going to stick this in a 350 degree oven for about 30 minutes. Here is the Philly cheesesteak tater tot casserole out of the oven. It is bubbly. It is gorgeous. Y'all, oh my stars, this smells so good. Oh my goodness. We're going to let this sit and cool and let that gravy kind of sit up. And then we're going to make a plate. And I can't wait to eat this. It smells so good. And here is that tater tot casserole. I'm so excited for this. It smells so good. That tater tot casserole was so good. If you love the flavors of Philly cheesesteak It was such a budget friendly recipe and it was so good and it made a ton of food. Number 2 spot, it's a meal from Greece. It's a stuffed eggplant and it's stuffed with all these wonderful flavors from Greece and it uses ground beef. And I didn't even expect this one to be in the top 3, but once we went back through and we thought about all the recipes, this one is up there, guys. It has amazing flavor. So you need to check this one out. Basically, it's a stuffed eggplant. I've never cooked with eggplant, so I'm excited to try this. We're also gonna be needing some tomatoes, onions, lots of spices, and we're only gonna be using half a pound of ground beef, and I'm gonna be using some Gruyere cheese. How do you say that? Gruyere cheese. If you think that's, I mean, it's fancy cheese to me. I know Aldi has a lot of specialty cheeses, but I found this right in my regular grocery store, and I even found it on a manager special. So excited to try this new recipe from the country of Greece. Okay, the first thing we need to do is roast our eggplant. So I've washed the eggplant. We're gonna be roasting this in the oven. I've got it preheating to 400 degrees. So I'm gonna start by cutting off the end. We're gonna cut it down the middle like this. Next, we want to score the eggplant without cutting the skin, just like this. So you want to make kind of crisscross scoring there. We're going to add extra virgin olive oil. About 2 tablespoons is what it calls for. I'm just going to eyeball it. Salt and pepper. Salt, pepper. Then we're going to use our clean hands to kind of massage that area. Almost forgot, we want to use thyme, dried thyme. So we'll sprinkle that on there. Then we're going to roast this cut side down. We're going to put this in that 400-degree oven for about 40 minutes. I'm going to be using half a pound of ground beef. I'm going to be using a little more than half of that red onion I just chopped. It calls for a clove of garlic. You could use a whole clove. I'm just going to use the minced kind that I have in the fridge. We're going to be using a can of diced tomatoes. And then we're going to be using lots of spices. We're going to be using thyme, cinnamon, cloves, salt and pepper, and some sugar. So I'm going to get the onions and garlic going on the stove and get that ground beef going. And a little bit of olive oil. Onions. Garlic. Sugar. 2 tablespoons of dried thyme. 1/4 a teaspoon of cinnamon. And 1/4 a teaspoon of ground cloves. Here's what the onion mixture will look like at this point. It's very fragrant. Now we're going to add in our ground beef. We're only using half a pound. While that ground beef is cooking, I'm going to shred up this Gruyere cheese. Let's shred it up. Now that my ground beef and onion mixture is all browned up, we're going to add in a can of diced tomatoes. This one is basil, garlic, and oregano. You can use plain. Come up to a simmer, then we'll add some cheese. It has been 40 minutes. My eggplant is roasted. I'm going to let it cool for just a minute, and then I'll show you what we need to do. My meat mixture is up to a simmer. I'm going to cut the temperature off. Add some of my shredded Gruyere cheese. Save some for the top though. Once the eggplant have roasted, you're going to transfer them to a baking dish and you're going to put them flesh side up, skin side down. And we're going to just kind of push down to make a well for the stuffing. We're gonna take our meat mixture with the tomatoes and the onions and all those spices. I'm so interested because we used cinnamon and clove. We're gonna fill the eggplant with this stuffing. I'm gonna put this back in the oven for 10 minutes till the cheese melts. Here is the stuffed eggplant out of the oven. Oh my gosh, yummy. Here is my meal from Greece. You can see that Greek salad with the feta and the oregano and the dressing and that stuffed eggplant. I'm really excited to try this. All right, let's try the stuffed eggplant. Here we go. That is delicious. And you can taste the cinnamon and the clove, but it's in a good way. I think this is my favorite, hands down so far, that I've made in this series. You need to go make this. And in spot number 1, our favorite ground beef recipe that we have shared on this channel was another extreme budget meal. So I did a take on a Southwestern Shepherds Pie. Oh my, it was so good. And it earned our number 1 ground beef recipe. So tonight we're going to be making a new recipe that I'm excited to try. I saw it over at Mandy in the Makings channel. So I'll leave that video link down below. It's a Southwestern take on a shepherd's pie. So we're gonna be using the 1 pound of ground beef. I'm gonna be using this 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. I'll have to get that shredded up. Gonna be using a can of diced green chilies. Gonna be using half of what's left of this onion. I'll get that chopped up. You could make your own mashed potatoes however you want to make them. I'm doing this on the budget, so I've got this pack of mashed potatoes. I'm just gonna do in the microwave how it says. If you've got potatoes, do real mashed potatoes. And then I've got about half of this jar of salsa left that I'm gonna be using. So I'm going to start prepping all my ingredients. Then we will go over to the stove and we're making a Southwestern Shepherd's Pie. Okay, so I have this pound of ground beef I just dropped into my cast iron skillet. I'm gonna be doing the whole thing in the cast iron skillet, putting it in the oven and all right here in this skillet. But you are gonna need to brown up your ground beef, and I'm gonna get those onions over here too and put those in the pan. Just add in these onions and we'll get everything broken up. All right, my meat and onions are done. I'm gonna need to drain the grease, and then we will get this shepherd's pie assembled. Okay, I have 2 cups of hot water from the microwave. I'm gonna add in my pouch of potatoes. And we're gonna give this a stir. And then we'll set this to the side, and it will become the topping for our shepherd's pie. This is gonna be so good. Okay, now that we have the grease drained, I'm going to add in my can of diced green chilies. I'm not gonna drain this. So I'm gonna get that in there. Now in Mandy's video, she added in some diced jalapenos. You could do that if you want to. I don't have any, it wasn't in the budget. So I'm gonna take this salsa and put about a cup of salsa in. I'm still gonna have some salsa left. Awesome. I'm just gonna give this a stir to combine. Now in her video, she also put in some frozen corn. I'm not gonna be doing that for this video because I'm trying to keep it at a certain budget. But if you've got some corn, whole kernel corn, that would be delicious in this as well. And so I'm just gonna keep giving this a stir. This smells amazing. You could add whatever you want. Oh, and you know what? I just forgot the most important thing. I need some taco seasoning. All right. You could just do some cumin and some garlic powder. If you've got that, if you've got regular taco seasoning, but I see over here I have a pack of this fajita seasoning that's just hanging out in my cabinet. I think I'm going to use this, but any taco seasoning will do, or you could just do the cumin and the garlic powder with some salt and pepper. So I'm just going to sprinkle this taco seasoning, or mine's fajita seasoning, on here. And then I'm going to probably give it just a hint of water. I don't want it to be too liquidy, but I do want to get that fajita seasoning mixed in there. So let me grab some water. Okay, I added a little bit of water, got it all mixed in with that fajita seasoning. So this is what it looks like. So now we're gonna build the shepherd's pie. So I've shredded up that whole block of cheese. I'm gonna use about half of it on this layer. And Mandy in the makings version, she did Monterey Jack. She mentioned you could use Colby Jack, Pepper Jack, whatever Jack. I'm gonna just use this cheddar. I don't know, I like cheddar with any kind of Southwestern flavor, so that's what I'm putting on here. Bet it'd be good with any cheese though. So I've got about half of that cheese on top of the meat layer. Okay, so now, let me make sure it's spread pretty even. We're gonna put on the mashed potatoes. Here's what it looks like with the mashed potatoes on top. Now the recipe says to bake this just like this for 20 minutes at 375. Then when I take it out, I'm gonna put the rest of the cheese on top of the mashed potatoes. So let's get this in the oven. All right, it's been 20 minutes. Bubbly deliciousness. It smells amazing. So let's top with the remaining cheese. All right, I put the rest of that cheese on there. We're going to put it back in the oven for 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, y'all. This is the shepherd's pie out of the oven. Wow, it smells good. It's piping hot, obviously. So I'm going to let this sit and cool and kind of set up, and then I'll show you our plates. Here is my bowl. Y'all, this smells so good. So good. Let's give this a taste. Here we go. This is so good. Wait a minute. Hands down, the best shepherd's pie I've ever eaten. The flavor. There is so much flavor. There's not a lot of heat. There's a little bit of heat, but not a lot. If you're wanting to feed someone that doesn't like spicy, this is the right amount of heat. If you want to kick it up a notch, add some diced jalapenos or pepper jack cheese. Y'all, if you make anything from this video, I'm already going to tell you this is going to be the favorite. You got to make this. This is amazing. So that is it for our first in this series of our top 3 recipes for an ingredient. I'm going to be doing these each week throughout the month of July. We're going to be sharing our favorite recipes, and so I hope that you enjoyed that, and I will be linking those recipes down in the description box below. If you like this idea and you like this video, hit me with a thumbs up. It helps me out and it shows support for my channel, and it just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that, and always hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any of the wonderful recipes and ideas that I will be sharing. So until the next one, guys, bye.